Hi everyone, myself Dr. P. Ashok Babu. So in this video, I am going to discuss about the magnetic scalar and vector potentials forced due to some magnetic fields. So if you go for or if you assume electric fields, so in electric fields we have only one quantity, one vector, one potential, so which is known as a scalar potential. Whereas coming to the magnetic fields, in magnetic fields you can define the both scalar and vector potentials. It is the difference between electric and magnetic fields. In electric field, we have only a scalar potential, whereas in a magnetic field, we have both. We can define both scalar and vector potentials. So here to define the magnetic potentials, here I am assuming some electric potential. Already we know that the electric potential E is equal to minus del V, where E is the electric field intensity, V is the potential. Similarly, you can define based upon the same equation E equal to minus del V, we can define the magnetic potential, magnetic scalar potential. First, we will define the magnetic scalar potential, then we will define the magnetic vector potential. So, where Vm is the scalar potential, A is the vector potential. Where Vm is the magnetic scalar potential, A is the vector potential. So, here to define the scalar and vector potentials, so here assume or consider two identities. So, here del cross del V is equal to 0 and del dot del cross A is equal to 0. To define the both scalar and vector potentials, you need to assume these two identities. So after assuming these two identities, here we can define the magnetic scalar potential Vm as magnetic scalar potential Vm as it is magnetic field intensity H is equal to minus del Vm if Z is equal to 0, where if J is equal to 0, where J is nothing but current density. So why we need to assume J equal to 0, we will see. So here we know that the Maxwell equation for magnetic fields, so it is del cross H is equal to J. So in this equation, you assume that J is equal to del cross H. So in place of H, you assume the scalar potential. So if you assume scalar potential, it is del cross minus del Vm. So it becomes minus del square Vm. So minus del square Vm according to the Laplace equation. According to Laplace equation, we can write del square Vm equal to 0. According to Laplace equation, we can write del square V is equal to 0. So if del square V equal to 0 means in previous equation, so del square V equal to 0 means automatically the current density J is equal to 0. Therefore, while defining the magnetic scalar potential, we need to assume that the current density J is equal to 0. Therefore, H is equal to minus del Vm if J is equal to 0, where J is the current density. Similarly, we can define the magnetic vector potential. To define the magnetic vector potential, you assume del dot B is equal to 0, which is a other Maxwell equation for magnetic fields. We know that for magnetic fields, del dot B is equal to 0. So here we can define the vector magnetic potential. Here we can define the vector magnetic potential A as, so it is B, we know that already B is equal to del cross A. We know that B is equal to del cross A. So if you know that B is equal to del cross A, so here already we know that electric potential V. Electric potential V is equal to, it is integral dq by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Integral dq by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Therefore, we can define the using the same electric potential, we can define the magnetic scalar potential as magnetic scalar potential A is equal to, we can define for line current, we can define for surface current, we can define for the volume current. So let us assume a line current. For line current, the magnetic vector potential A is equal to, it is integral line integral mu naught IDL by 4 pi r. Similarly, so it is for surface current, A is equal to surface integral mu naught KDS by 4 pi r. For volume current, it is volume integral mu naught JdV by 4 pi r. So like that we can define the vector potential for line current, surface current and volume currents. So this is about the vector potential and scalar potential of a magnetic field. Now we will discuss about the forces due to magnetic fields. Forces due to magnetic fields. So here there are three ways in which the force due to magnetic fields can be experienced. So the force can be three ways. So the first one is, it is due to moving charged particle. It is due to moving charged particle in a constant B field, constant magnetic field. Second one is the force on a current element in an external magnetic field. Third one is the force between two current elements. In these three ways, you can find out the force due to magnetic field and a force due to the magnetic field. So here we will discuss the three concepts one by one. First one is force on a charged particle, or the force due to moving charged particle in a B field. So here to find the force on a charged particle. So here the force on a charged particle means, so here the charged particle may be constant or it may be moving with some initial velocity. So when the charge is constant, we need to assume the electric field. When the charge is moving with some velocity, we need to assume the magnetic field. So here to find out the force on a charged particle, here the charged particle may be a constant one or it may be moving with some initial velocity. Therefore, we need to assume both electric and magnetic fields. We need to assume the both electric and magnetic fields. Therefore, the total field, the total force F is equal to the total force on a charged particle is equal to the force due to electric field and the force due to magnetic field. So this is a final force on a charged particle. So for that, already we know the charge on a the force on a charged particle in electric field. So the electric field Fe on a stationary or moving electric charge Q in an electric field is given by Coulomb's law. So it can be, we can find out it by using the equation, the force F is equal to QE. We have the relation force F is equal to Q into E, where Q is the charge of an electron and E is the electric field intensity. So here from this equation we can conclude that the force is a positive force. Similarly, we can find out the force on a magnetic field. So for that, a magnetic field can exert a force only on a moving charge. Therefore, the magnetic force Fm experienced by a charge Q moving with a velocity U in a magnetic field B can be estimated as, I repeat once again, the magnetic force Fm experienced by a charge Q moving with a velocity U in a magnetic field B can be estimated as, it is Fm is equal to the force, Fm is nothing but force in a magnetic field, or the force on a magnetic field. Fm equal to Q into U cross B, or the force on a charged particle, the charged particle is moving with some initial velocity U in a magnetic field is Fm is equal to Q into U cross B. So here from this equation we can conclude that both velocity and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other. So here we need to find out the total force on a charge. So for moving charge Q in the presence of both electric and magnetic fields, the total force on the charge is given by F is equal to Fe plus Fm, where Fe is the force on electric field, Fm is the force on magnetic field. So here if we add the two equations, it is F is equal to QE, Q into E in electric field plus Q into U cross B in magnetic field. So here in both the terms you can take a common of Q. Therefore the force is equal to, it is Q into E plus U cross B. This is the total force on a moving charged particle in electric and magnetic fields. So here this relation is known as Lorentz force equation. This is one of the important relation. This relation is known as a Lorentz force equation. It relates both mechanical force and electrical force, because the force on a here we are finding the force on an electric field, the force on a charge in electric field, and the force on a charge in magnetic field. The Lorentz force equation will relate the both mechanical and electric forces. So here the mass of, if the mass of the charged particle, moving in electric and magnetic fields is m. Let us assume the mass of the charged particle which is moving in the both electric and magnetic fields is m. So by Newton's second law of motion. So by Newton's second law of motion is, we know that force F is equal to mass into acceleration. So in place of acceleration, here I am assuming mass into rate of change of velocity. So m into du by dt. So which is equal to Q into E plus U cross B. Q into E, which is Q into E plus U cross B. So which is the relation using the Newton's second law. Next, so we'll find the force due to magnetic field. Second one, force on a current element. Second one, we'll find out the second one, force on a current element. To determine the force on a current element, so here we need to assume that a current element ideal. Assume a current element ideal of a current carrying conductor due to a magnetic field B. Due to magnetic field B. So here we know that already the convection current or conduction current density. J is equal to, we know that it is rho V into U, where rho V is the volume charge density, U is the velocity of an electron. U is the velocity of an electron. So here the relationship between current elements, there are three current elements: line current, surface current, and volume current. Says it is ideal is equal to K into ds equal to J into dV. So line current, surface current, and volume currents. So here if we combine the equation 1 and 2, let us assume it is equation 2, it is equation 1. If we combine the equation 1 with equation 3, so here we can write I into dl is equal to, so let us assume the third one, J into dV, but we know that J is equal to, the current density J is equal to rho V into U. Therefore ideal is equal to rho V into U into dV, but ideal is equal to, you can write rho V into dV into U. Rho V into dV is nothing but dq. It is the elemental charge in electric field. We know that rho V into dV is equal to dq, which is an elemental charge. Therefore the equation becomes ideal is equal to dq into U. dq into U. So which is the equation. Or another way. So we know that I into dl, or let us assume ideal is the current element. So where dl is nothing but I is nothing but current. The current can be, this is nothing but the rate of change of charge. Rate of change of charge is nothing but a current. Therefore in place of current I, so here I am assuming dq by dt. Rate of change of charge is nothing but a current. dq by dt is equal to dq by dt into dl. Or we can readjust the equation as, it is dq into dl by dt. So dl by dt is nothing but rate of change of displacement is nothing but the velocity. Therefore the equation becomes dq into u. Therefore in place of ideal, directly we can write dq into u. Ideal equal to dq into u. Already we know that the force on a charged particle when it is moving with some initial velocity in a magnetic field is Fm is equal to q into u cross b. Q into u cross b. So differentiate the equation on both sides. So here if you differentiate the equation on both sides, dFm is equal to dq into u cross b. dq into u cross b. So in place of dqu, here I am substituting ideal current element ideal. Therefore the equation becomes dF is equal to ideal cross b. Ideal cross b. So here if you integrate the equation on both sides, therefore differentiation and integration cancel on left hand side, and right hand side is a line integral ideal cross b. Line integral ideal cross b. So here in place of current element ideal, we can use the surface current element KDS, or we can use the volume current element JDV. Therefore the equation will become dF is equal to KDS cross b, or dF is equal to JDV cross b. So here if we integrate the equations on both sides, the force F is equal to surface integral K into ds cross b, or the force F is equal to volume integral JDV cross b. So in this way we can find out the magnetic field on a current element. The third method is we need to find out the force between the two current elements. We need to find out the force between two current elements. To find out the force between two current elements, let us assume the two current elements I1 dl1 and the second current element is I2 dl2. So let us consider the force between two elements I1 dl1 and I2 dl2. So here according to the Biot-Savart's law, both current elements produce magnetic fields. Both current elements produce the magnetic fields. So here if we can observe the current element I1 dl1, I2 dl2. So here R12 from I2 to I1, R12. So if you assume I1 to I2, it is R12 it is, and I2 to I1 is R21. It is R21, it is R12. So here we need to find out the force D of dF1. So differentiation of F1, where F1 is a force. Here we may find the force D of dF1 on a current element I1 dL1 due to the second magnetic field dB2 produced by a current element I2 dL2. So here we need to find out the force on a current element 1 due to the current element 2. So which is nothing but the D of dF1. So D of dF1 is equal to, here it is using the Biot-Savart's law. Here we can write I1 dL1 cross dB2. I1 dL1 cross dB2. The force is equal to I1 dL1 cross dB2. Or in previous equation also we can write. So here we have the equation dF is equal to ideal cross B. Ideal cross B. So because here it is 2 times integration, 2 times differentiation, here we can write. So D of dF1 equal to I1 dL1 cross dB2. I1 dL1 cross dB2. So using the Biot-Savart's law, already we know that it is dH is equal to, dH according to Biot-Savart's law, dH is equal to, we have IDL cross AR by 4 pi R square. Ideal cross by 4 pi R, ideal cross AR by 4 pi R square, where AR is a unit vector. Therefore, here we can find out the dB. In place of dH, we are finding the dB because we know that B is equal to mu H. If it is dB means mu into dH. Therefore, the equation becomes, it is mu ideal cross AR by 4 pi R square. 4 pi R square. Therefore, equation becomes, according to Biot-Savart's law, dB2 is equal to, it is mu naught I2 dL2, mu naught I2 dL2 cross AR21 by 4 pi R21 whole square. So here we need to find out the D of dF1. D of dF1 means we need to substitute dB2 in equation 1, or we need to substitute equation 2 in equation 1. In equation 1 we have I1 dL1 cross dB2. So if you substitute equation 2 in equation 1, so it is mu naught I1 dL1 is there cross I2 dL2 cross AR21 by 4 pi R21 square. So this equation is essentially the law of force between the two current elements. So and it is analogous to the Coulomb's law, which expresses the force between two stationary charges, So here if you integrate the equation 2 times, if you integrate the equation 3 2 times, we can find out the force F1. Therefore, the total force F1 on a current loop I1 due to the current loop 2 is, integrate the equation 2 times F1. So here mu naught I1 I2 are constant, mu naught I1 I2 by 4 pi. So line integral of L1, line integral of L2 into dL1 cross dL2 cross AR21 by R21 square. So which is the force F1. Similarly, we can find out the force F2. We can find out the force on loop 2 using the loop 1, which is nothing but the force F2. So the force F2 on loop 2 due to the magnetic field B1 from loop 1 is obtained from the equation 4 by interchanging the subscripts 1 and 2. In place of 1 and 2, in place of 1, you substitute 2. In place of 2, you substitute 1. Therefore, we can find out the force F2. So here we know that the force F2 is equal to minus F1 because the two forces are acting oppositely. The force F2 is equal to minus F1. So the force F1 and F2 obey the Newton's third law. So that is nothing but Newton's third law. According to Newton's third law, that action and reaction are equal and opposite to each other. So this is about the force between two stationary charges, or two stationary loops, or two stationary charges. Okay, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.